Hi, 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 hi. Hey, ooh, I just walked in from the cold. My heater's on and everything. I am so cold. It is cold over here in Texas. Let me know where you're chiming in from. This is Know the Hope with Lorena Gordon. You know, um, I named it Know the Hope so that you would know the hope and cherish it, as it says in Ephesians 1 18, 18 and 19. So read that and you'll understand why I say know the hope. You know, you are not hopeless and your situation is not hopeless. If you know Jesus, you'll know that you and your situation are not hopeless. God gives hope. All right. So another thing that would very much matter to me is if you would share this broadcast, if you would just share, um, and those for anyone. Actually, this is for anyone, male and female, just so that you can understand who you are and your purpose for your church, for your pastors. All right. We had just gotten off not too long ago. We did the believer's authority. Man, was that a good lesson. Ooh, that was a good lesson. And go back onto my channel and listen to each one of those. That's one that y'all can um, watch as a family together. The little ones need to understand the authority that they have as believers in Jesus Christ. It's that profound, it's that impactful. And, we anywhere in between, from children all the way to the seasoned ones, and every level in between, we all need to know what our authority is. Now that we're equipped with that, we can understand who we are for God's kingdom in your local church and for your pastors. Okay. And I say pastors because a lot of times, if you have a medium size church and even a very much larger size church, you have several pastors, a pastor that oversees that department, oversees that one, but they all are pastors. And then you have your senior pastor that's an overseer of all of them. That's the way it is in my church at Friendship. We have our main senior pastor, and then we have pastors that oversee or are assigned to certain divisions, to certain departments, etc. So, but if you have a little church and you have just the one pastor, this lesson that I'm teaching on, it's entitled Shoulder to Shoulder, all right, by Dan Reiland. Y'all need to get yourself a copy. And, for the most part, I'm not reading verbatim so much out of the book. They have copyrights, things like that. I am teaching from the book. In no way, shape, or form am I benefiting as far as financially off of this teaching. I'm not. I won't, So, I mean, if you want to, donate to me personally, that'd be great, just to keep the internet bill paid and all that kind of stuff. That would be great. But I want to help you understand what this study is about. And it's, if you noticed, let's see, if you noticed on the front of it, okay, that picture there is three people, okay, and the one in the middle is Moses, who is a typology of your pastor, and then Aaron and Hur, they are on either side of your pastor holding up his arms. That's who we are. That's what this book is about. Uplifting your pastor in the time of battle. Okay, having the calling of a pastor is big. It's huge. When you understand the behind the scenes, and that's what this book is about, is to understand what they have to go through, what it is that they have to endure. Once you understand that, you'll know your position on either side, these two right here, you'll know your position to uphold your pastor more. So that's what this book is about. We are on chapter 1C today, and tomorrow we'll start with chapter 2. All right. So are you ready to get started? Why don't y'all chime in to let me know where you're chiming in from? I'm here locally in the DFW area, which means Dallas Fort Worth area, but I live closer to Fort Worth. And here in Texas, if I'm going to challenge you right now. I'm going to even give you some time right now. Have someone that just start thinking, anyone that you may know, my fingers are still cold, out of state, that would benefit from this. Do you know a pastor out of state that would benefit from this, so that his or her congregation would understand this, to know this? I'm telling you, this is so important. If you would just tag, comment something, do something, share this with someone that that's out of state, so that they can subscribe, that would mean the world to me. If you give me thumbs up, that would mean the world to me. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. Okay, before I get started, please do so now. Let them know that I'm on. When they subscribe, do the notification bell and just click on all. The only thing I do on here is just to give you these kinds of lessons and teachings. So that would be amazing. That would work. That would help. I would love it. And that would help me. So I appreciate it. But this whole series here, I'm telling you, pastors, I'm letting you know that if you want your congregation to understand what you go through, this is the teaching. All right. This is it right here. So let's keep that in mind. All right. All right. Let's get started. We're going to recap on what we learned. There were a lot of misconceptions of what we thought a pastor's job responsibilities or duties were, and we did that, right? We went over that misconceptions. Then the next day, it was about the actual facts that what they go through. What pastors go through. So over the weekend, remember on Friday, on Friday, I finished off with pay attention to what you've learned last week, and look at that when you deal with your pastor, when you see him up at the pulpit, the ins and outs of your church type of thing, to get to know your church, so that you can love your church, so that you can be there to support your church. Okay, I think I'm good on this. All right. So that's what we learned last week. Just a very short recap on it. Okay. So then, my ears are still kind of cold. All right. Woo, it takes a long time, and I think a lot of the culprit there is that chemo pill. Okay. So, what did you notice over the weekend? Put that in your comments too, please. That would be great, so that I can know that we're interacting. That would be wonderful. And the best thing for me ever is the live chat. So let's get started with this. Chapter 1C is today's teaching today, and it's about support is God's idea. Support of your pastor, support of your church, that's God's idea. All right, so let's get started. When you read the story in Exodus chapter 17, it's verses 8 through 13 with Moses, Joshua, Aaron, and Hur. Okay, so it's Moses, Joshua, Aaron, and Hur. That's Exodus 17. I think last week it was one of those times where I kept repeating James 4:7, James 4:7, James, and then it was Matthew 18:18, Matthew 18:18, Matthew 18:18. And I started even to memorize those. That's how you memorize things. So Exodus 17, 8 through 13, Exodus 17, even if you don't get the verses, get that chapter in at least, but the book for sure. Exodus 17, Exodus 17, Exodus 17. That's where Moses and Joshua and Aaron and Hur are on this, main picture here. That's that picture here. Okay. Right there. Okay. That's where it gets started. Exodus 17, Exodus 17. All right. All right, so that's where the story is that Moses and the Israelites were fighting against the Amalekites. Now, listen to read. The Amplified Bible gives a lot of details, and I did notice that when I get on my Bible app on my phone, it has that quotation, almost like a text with the three dots in it. That means that if you click on it, it gives you more history on certain words or what the author meant by. All right. And the Amalekites came from that split of nations. And anyway, so go back and read that. So as long as let's move on. As long as Moses's arms were up, that's when the Israelites were winning in that war, in that battle, against the Amalekites. The Amalekites, they were mean, mean, mean. All right. They were vicious. So when the Israelites came against the Amalekites, as long as Moses's arms were up, they were winning. However, due to fatigue, we're going to get to that in a minute. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to that tomorrow. But because of fatigue, he was worn out. You know that a battle, when they were at war, it didn't last for a day. It didn't last for, it's the morning, just in time to go home for dinner. It was days on end. Okay. It was days after days, right? And his arms were lowered. A lot of the Israelites were losing and being killed. Okay. And no territory was being gained and all that kind of stuff. So here we go in Exodus 17, 8 through 13. This is the story now. Okay. Then Amalek and his people. Amalek, mean, 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 mean. Okay. Anyway, they were a vicious group. Okay. So then Amalek and his people came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Rephidim, okay? That's where they were fighting. So Moses said to Joshua, Moses, the typology of a pastor, he says to Joshua, the leader of the army, the leader of the Israelites, the Israeli army, Joshua. He's telling Joshua, okay? He says, choose men for us to go out, fight against Amalek and his people. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. That staff, don't forget about that staff. Read up on that staff too, okay? So Joshua did as Moses said. So he chose people, right? He says, and that was it. Choose men for us and go out and fight against Amalek and his people. So Joshua had to pick the finest of the finest of the finest to go out and fight. All right. And he told him, I'm going to be up in that hill. See that hill over there? I'm going up with that staff of God. I'm going up there. When you pick your people and ready to fight the Amalekites, okay? And then, so Joshua did, as Moses said, and fought with Amalek and his people, okay? So that was that next day. Then it says, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the hilltop. Now, it's amazing to me, as I was reading this, that he asked Joshua to pick people to help him fight there on the battlefield. See, Joshua was a servant of Moses as well. Joshua did as he was told because it was going to help for God's kingdom. Okay. And he was in agreement. Joshua was a leader. So in other words, Joshua was like a pastor figure as well over the warriors, the fighters. Okay. Those warriors, the ones that were called to fight. Moses didn't say, Joshua, because you're a leader and you're a pastor, that you're like your overseer of the warriors, I want you to stand up there in the hilltop with me and get your top men to oversee. He told him, I'm going to go up to that hill. Aaron, Hur, come on up with me up to that hill. Joshua's going to take it from here, but he's going to be down there. You see what I'm saying? He didn't ask Joshua to join him. He asked Aaron and he asked Hur to go up with him. Aaron and Hur knew what they were dealing with too. They were like, what are you doing? You're going to stand up here with your arms extended holding God's staff the whole time? Standing with your arms out for a long time, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end? All right. Okay. If that's what you're going to do, we're here to help. What do you want us to do? So when his arms got tired, they were like, oh, we got to help with his arms up. We get it now. We see what's going on. We see why God called him to do this. Oh, we get it now. Then they brought over this big rock for him to sit on while they were still holding up his hands because he was tired. His legs were shaky. You stand up for hours and hours. And I mean, I'm not talking 5 hours a day, 5 hours, and then you go home and sit down, you go in your car and you sit, and then you go to a restaurant and you sit. I'm not. Hours and hours and hours. He had to go potty, right? He was hungry, right? Hours. Okay. Let me just say that, okay? Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the hilltop. Now, when Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed. And when he lowered his hand due to fatigue, Amalek prevailed. Okay? But Moses' hands were heavy and he grew tired. So they took a stone, they meaning Aaron and Hur. There was no one up there else on the hilltop with him other than Aaron and Hur. So they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Okay? Then Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other side. So it was that his hands were steady until the sun set. There's still light outside. It's almost 4:20 here in Texas right now in the afternoon. There's still sunlight out there, but he's been up since early morning, standing with his arms up. Yeah, okay. So Joshua, now we're going back to the other one that's in charge, right? So Joshua overwhelmed and defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. That's very profound too, because the edge of the sword is always symbolic, and it represents the sword of the Spirit, which means that it's God's holy word. That'll kill off any Amalek army that's coming against you, right? All right, I just want to say that. So now you understand the story of why this picture. Okay? Now you understand the story of this picture. Okay? Where is it at? Exodus 17. Right. Okay. Talk about support. Ooh, talk about having that support. You know that Moses was able to count on Joshua. He was able to count on Aaron. He was able to count on Hur. And he told them to do something, and they were like, absolutely. Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay? That's support. So your pastor prays for his flock, his congregation. Your pastor should. He ought to. And you know what? If he's called to pastor, he cares for you in your church. He prays for every department. He prays for every section, for every problem, for every problem that his people are going through. And I'm not saying his people because he is the last and the ultimate. No, because he knows that he's been assigned by God to take care of this flock, to take care of these sheep, to take care of the congregation. Okay. Not only corporately as a church, but your pastor loves you individually. Now, I understand that you may not think or feel the love of your pastor individually because you don't know him very well. That happens in a lot of big churches. But I know that when a pastor is called and they're doing right, that they may not know your name, but they remember faces, or just in general, that person, for whatever, that person, individual, for every mother, for every widow, for every widower, for every single father, for every, and he's pointing for every teenager, for every child. Yeah, your pastor cares. Absolutely. I know mine does. Absolutely. Absolutely cares. Yes. So the pastor is that leader over not only corporately but individually. Your pastor cares, right? Now you can pray for him and his family and ministry. Now that you have that understanding, and what your job is to hold him up, right? This is a battle that he's fighting for you. He prays for you. He intercedes for you, right? Okay. Let him know that you are that. Let him know. Let me see. No, that you're praying for him. Let him know that you are. Let him know. Send him that email. Send him that. Call the church office and say, I just wanted to let you know that we here at the Perez family, we here at the um, the Gordon family, we here at the, whatever family that you represent there, that we're praying for you, Pastor. We have you and your family and the church growth and the church in itself. You're on our prayer list. We just finished praying for you. You know what? That's going to go, wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pastors know the power of prayer. So if you just let your pastor know that you're there to help and there to support and there to pray for him and the family, again, don't get all tweaked out because I'm saying him. Okay. I'm just saying him. All right. I know very well that there are female pastors. I'm one. So I'm not trying to differentiate here. A pastor is a pastor. I just say him. Okay. Let's just get that out of the way. Let them know that you're praying for them and the family. There's unity and support there that God is pleased with. When you support, when there's unity, when there is a like-mindedness of God's kingdom to advance, God is very pleased with that. Absolutely. This will encourage your pastor. It'll keep him encouraged to continue. We're going to talk about the fatigue and being worn out tomorrow in chapter 2. But you, just by you telling your pastor that you support him and that you're praying for him, that's going to help encourage him. Okay. Number 2, not everyone is called to lead, but many are called to support. Did you get that? Not many are called to lead. Not many are called to the pastoralship. Not many are called to lead a wide organization. You think of big names. Stephen Furtick, T.D. Jakes, Joyce Meyer, Paula Kane. You think of big names. That's their calling. Very few are called to that huge mantle. Very few, but all of us are called to support. Don't you think that they did that same thing when they weren't a big name? They were their support. Pastor, what can I do? I'll clean up the church. I'll open. I'll close. I'll do communion. I'll pray over the chairs. I'll sweep. I'll vacuum. I'll come out and do the children's ministry. Don't think that they didn't. They did. That's why the Bible says, when you're trusted with the little, he'll give you more. He'll trust you with the big things because you're taking care of all the little stuff too. All right. All are called to support. Yes, absolutely. The pastor is the leader and he has the final say. Absolutely. I don't even know what I'm kicking around down here. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Just kicking things around down here. I don't even know what that is. All right. Okay. Sorry. He does have the final say, right? He has many responsibilities that are only his. Because he's the senior pastor, when it comes down to it, he will have the final say, right? Not the church. I've been in many denominations that listen to this. Your pastor is appointed by God, right? But the sheep, see, he's the shepherd and you're the sheep, but the sheep are the ones that make the decision and tell the pastor what to do. What? Talk about backwards. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how that's biblical, honestly. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Think about the amount of people at your church. Is it a big church, a small one, a huge one? I don't know. Are there dozens of people in your church? Are there just a dozen people in your church? How about hundreds? Are there hundreds of people in your? Are there thousands of people in your church? Wow. There would be no way that your pastor can meet all the needs of all the people. But when you're called to support, that's huge for him. Okay. Well, you can be part of that army in your church to help lighten the load for your pastor. Absolutely. Be available. Let's say you are part of your youth. Okay. If you're a part of the youth or you got kids that go to youth, go to the youth pastor and let them know that you're available. I can go and pick them up. They're right down. They're really not that far from me. I'll do it. They need what? School supplies? Absolutely. I can buy them school supplies. Why would that have to fall on your pastor? Why can't you do it? You know what? Absolutely. You know, the church, the kids need to go to youth camp. We only have enough money to only fund for 5. Well, I'll sponsor 2. Yeah, I'll sponsor half of one, and then another person can sponsor the other half. How about we do bake sales? How about we do yard sales, and all the proceeds go to the youth camp bill, right? So everyone can go. How about that? Car washes, depending on if it's too cold outside. I won't be sending my kid out there. It's too cold. But you know, y'all can think of something for fundraisers, etc. Children's church. You got children's that if you have children that go to children's church, volunteer to help. Period. Absolutely. You got a baby in the nursery, volunteer one Sunday every 1 to 2 months. One Sunday. You will not believe how much that helps. Yes. You eat, don't you, after at fellowships at church? Offer to clean up, offer to do the dishes, offer just to clear the tables or stack up the chairs or do something. Absolutely. I'll bring food for 5 people. Yes, because I'm going to eat like a king. When I get over there, yum, 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 I'm going to eat. Absolutely. Yeah. See, not everyone is called to lead, but all are called to serve. Yes. Huge help. That's huge. So your pastor has a heart, right? You know your pastor has a heart. And you know what else he has? His own style. He has his own flavor, his own style of preaching, his own flair. Not me. I have been in churches where they will put you to sleep because they're just monotone. I said, oh, whoo, this is going to be a long day, a long sermon for me. You know, I guess I just like maybe animation or yelling at me or something. I don't know. But let me tell you, your pastor has his own style, and he has his own flavor, his own flair, right? So when you come alongside your pastor to partner with him, God is well pleased in that, and so is your pastor, so that you can complement, so that you can enhance his flavor, his own style. Let him be him. Yeah, let him be him. you're if you think that you're going to alter your pastor's style, then maybe that's not the church that you want to go to. Maybe you do want to go to a church that your pastor's funny, or that your pastor is, knowledgeable as far as Hebrew and Greek, or that your pastor is, you prefer a calm spoken monotone pastor, and you want your pastor that's really animated and uses a lot of props and stuff. You don't like that, and you do want, come on. You can't conform your pastor to your likes. Okay. If that's not what you like, then maybe that's not where you need to be. God wants you probably to go somewhere else then. That's not a bad thing. It's about, I don't want you church hopping. Church hopping because of offense. Oh, I don't like it there because of this. I don't like it over there because he said that. I don't like it over there because she did this. I don't like it. That's church hopping. Okay. That's church hopping. Maybe it is time to move on, but ask God where. Find out. Look online. Visit a church once in a while. Ask your friends, why do you like your church? Why do you like your pastor? All right, let's pray about it, family. Maybe we're going to like it here or like it there. We don't know. All right. And embrace your pastor's difference of style. You're the difference of his own flavor, his own flair. All right. God is pleased with that. Your pastor will teach you also. Your pastor is teaching you. If you like his style, he's teaching you how to be around people, how to be at the pulpit, how to be taking charge, how to lead, how to decipher what the Bible means in certain scriptures. Your pastor is knowledgeable. He has strengths, he has weaknesses. Again, that's tomorrow's service, or that's in chapter 2, I should say. Okay. So he's going to help you grow spiritually, and he's going to help you grow spiritually for your ministry. All right. We all have a ministry because we all have a testimony. I'm not going to be able to reach the single father. I'm not a single father. I never have been. I never will be a single father. No, I can't be that. But every single father can reach another single father. I don't know what it's like to only have sons. I don't have any sons. I only have grandsons, but to have raised sons, no, I don't know what that's like. If you only have sons, then you know that you can reach a mother that also has sons. I've only had daughters. Okay. So you see what I'm saying is that that's your ministry. If you have a ministry for cooking, bless someone with that knowledge. Please, I need to learn how to cook. I kind of, but not really. If someone can tell me to show me if they're cooking, ooh, let me tell you something. You have a ministry to teach the young ones how to cook. Come on. Come on. Those of you who know how to sew, why aren't you teaching your kids or your grandkids or the neighborhood kids how to sew? The basics. Let's do basics. Let's sew a button back on. That's a basic thing. That's easy. How about a cross stitch? How about sewing up a hole in your underarm or whatever on the seam or something? Hem a pants. Hem a pair of pants. If you know how to do that, you have a ministry. Let me tell you something. If you know how to change a tire, you need to be teaching these kids that are getting their driver's permit how to change a tire, how to check the oil. You have a ministry. Wow. Did you think about that? Oh, woo, woo. You know how to do sign language? You need to start teaching. I'll be your first student. I kid you, that book right there, that book right there is sign language book. I need to learn sign language. Yes, absolutely. Come on now. All of these things to even get visions and ideas for, I don't know what to do in the church, just what I just said. You absolutely have an idea. You absolutely can be put to use for God's kingdom. that your pastor is teaching you how to get ideas, how to be a servant, how to be a leader, how to be available, to be loyal and faithful to him, to the church. And it's helping you grow your ministry. Yeah. Together, you both are growing God's kingdom. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, here's number 3. God didn't create a pastor to do it all. No. As a matter of fact, there's a wide spectrum. Pastor needs to do XYZ more because all he does, and then here's the other spectrum, because all he does is just get a sermon together for Sunday. No, that's not true. And then it's on the other spectrum. My pastor does a lot. He might even do too much. Okay. So can you imagine that your pastor would be the usher to greet? I wrote this down. Look how silly this would sound, right? Can you imagine that your pastor would be the usher and then to greet the ones coming in? Hey, how you doing? Good morning, blah, blah, blah. Doing the soundboard right before church, the lights, the mic, putting in the batteries in the mic, the sound, the recording, the YouTube recording, the soundboard, and getting all the recordings done correctly, okay? Right before church starts, and then bringing forth the music, trying to play 2 instruments at a time and singing too. Now, this is all just your pastor, okay? Then passes the plate around pew by pew or row by row, then running back on the stage to bring you the sermon, then gets on the organ to do the benediction, and then dismisses in prayer, then having to do the parking lot traffic control, all the while holding 2 babies because the nursery worker couldn't make it that day. I know that's a bit too far-fetched. I understand that. But do you get the idea of what I'm trying to tell you? Pastors weren't created. It wasn't God's plan for the pastor to do it all. It's not. Mm-mm. No. So God didn't design it that way. All pastors need to know that they have a core of supporters, some Aaron's and some hers, that he can count on. Are you one of those? Can he count on you? If you say you're going to be there at 10 and get there at 9:45, are you the one that's going to say, I'll be part of the cleanup crew? That's perfectly fine with me. And you do it from beginning to end, the cleanup crew. And he can count on you every single time. Well, can you be here? I can do that, absolutely. And then not show up, then he's not going to ask you anymore, right? Then you're not going to be available to him anymore. He's going to say, well, you already ditched me twice. I know we're all volunteers here, but it's about commitment. It's about your integrity. It's about your word. Okay? All of this will make him feel that he's supported and that you believe in him. That's a huge difference. That's where the difference is. He can always ask you, but with your integrity and your word, then he'll know that you support him. Just by that, just by actions alone, right? Or not even he doesn't even have to ask you. You just look at, there's a bunch of stuff on the floor. Go pick it up. That's your church. Go pick it up. You know a little bit about plumbing or cleaning or whatever. Wipe the sinks down. Wipe them off. Why don't you say hi to somebody? Be an usher, be part of the greeter committee. Just to smile and say hi, welcome. That's it. That's all you have to say. Hi, welcome. That's it. Hi, welcome. That's all you have to say with a smile. That's it. That doesn't take much at all, right? But that support is huge. It speaks volumes to your pastor. Absolutely. All right. We're going to recap already. That's it for chapter 1. Go back and listen to the others. From the intro to to the 3 parts of chapter 1. Okay. Let's do that. So let's recap, right? There were a lot of good pointers in chapter 1. Lots of them, lots of tips. But we'll go over a few of them just so that you can have this in remembrance, all right? God ordained a ministry partnership that's tailor-made for you and your pastor. Yeah? Pray and ask God to direct you into the department that he wants you to be in. Where God wants you at. Even if you're not comfortable with it, maybe God needs for you to understand what they go through. It's only for a season. And then God will trust you, and so will your pastor, to move you somewhere else. See, it's almost like you need to show them and show yourself that you're capable of learning it, that you're capable of appreciating it, so that you can move to your calling. Okay? All right. Things that you never would have thought about. Okay? Be a servant. Remember what I said? Heart of a servant, mind of a student. We're always learning, and we got to be humble to serve one another. Okay? Be a servant. Ask someone at your church how you can serve. Ask someone at your church how you can serve. Where do you need help? I'll do it from this time to this time. Is that good for you? And then be committed to that. Even if you don't like it, just be committed to it. You only gave them 2 weeks. You only gave them one Sunday, I'll do it for the next 2 Sundays because I need to learn what y'all do. So train me, and then we'll figure it out from there. That'll give them enough time to find someone that actually does want to do it, but be committed. Have a heart of a servant. All right. Always know that God is pleased, and your audience is the audience of one. That's the big O, meaning Jesus Christ. God himself is very pleased, and that's the only audience that you need. Okay. Which misconceptions did you have before this study? Do you remember the misconceptions? Do you remember that misconception? Now, me trying to go back and to look, I should have, okay, misconception. Remember, pastors have a model family. Pastors are experts in their field. Pastors are blessed with an ideal marriage. Pastors enjoy the fellowship of many close friends. Pastors consistently experience a vibrant walk with God. Do you remember all of those misconceptions, right? So my question is, which misconception did you have before this study? Remember all that? Which facts, okay, the facts, which facts of a pastor's life came to light? Facts that you didn't really know about. So that pastors have a challenging and demanding job. Pastors have a stressful family life. These are all facts now. Pastors often feel inadequate in their work. Pastors experience tension in their marriages. Pastors suffer from loneliness. Which one of these did you that you were like, wow, I didn't even think of that, right? Pastors go through spiritual dry seasons. Pastors know discouragement very well. Did you know any of those things? Remember all those? Make a commitment. This is the last one now. Make a commitment to support your pastor, the church, and his family. Make that commitment. Be loyal. If anything, be loyal. Are you more loyal at your job than you are at your church? Why don't we make those parallel? Yeah. And sometimes I hear it. Well, we don't have a men's group. Make one. Present what your idea to the pastor and say, you know what, I noticed that we don't have a men's group. Can I help lead one? How about couples, young couples getting together, date nights? Let's do date night once a month. And you know what? All the young adults and all the teens, they're going to be babysitting. How about that? How about that? While the parents are out having a good time on a date night, those that are in ministry that know how to sew, cook, change a tire, change oil, in their vehicles, washing cars, taking care of kids, babies, or something. You can start teaching those things on date night. All right. All right. I am so good. You know what? This lesson went by so quick, but look at it, it's already 45 minutes in. This is so good, y'all. So tomorrow is going to be chapter 2. Tomorrow's going to be chapter 2, and this is your pastor is human and has human characteristics. What? Yes. Your pastor's human, and guess what? He has human characteristics. Absolutely. That's tomorrow's lesson. I just wanted to thank you for joining me. For those who are subscribing, oh my goodness, that means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you for that. Those that are sharing, even more so, thank you for that. Please tell one of your pastor friends to listen to this and have his leadership or congregation or whatever listen to these studies. Get that book. Get the book. Here it is again. Y'all get the book. Okay? Shoulder to Shoulder, Dan Reiland. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love y'all. Y'all have a good evening and be committed to your church. And your pastor will be pleased, and so much more so God. All right. I love y'all. We'll see you soon.